item,
Came in late.
oh, came in late, 16, so you got yours late. When did it come in? Does anyone know?
This is, the 16 is the,
Dinner fund?
Wasn't there Friday. Couldn't find backup or anything on 16, or even anything on the agenda. You know, on the, I could see it on,
What's
this.
included is,
I can see it.
the cash flow analysis. And that's the only backup to it, is the cash flow analysis.
I didn't see, that wasn't there, that's what I'm saying.
Well, that,
I missed it or whatever. Okay.
it was there this morning.
Right, I'm not seeing
I
that.
mean, it was there, the item wouldn't have been there when it was approved, when the budget was numbered and approved, so.
Yeah,
I'm just saying Friday I was trying.
It was not there Friday.
Right, that's why I said on Friday I was trying to get the backup. So I didn't, I should have tried to get
You
it.
scroll down.
Okay, and also, under the regular agenda, the first item would be number 6, it's been numbered incorrectly.
okay.
And also under mayor's communication, normally they just have mayor's communication 5. I
Right.
mean, any way you want, but I don't know if you got 580, but,
Well, I think sometimes they're not available to us before the meeting, and then this time they were there.
whatever, I'm just saying.
But I don't know, Snehal, do you know why it would do that, why it would not be number 6? If you look at our agenda,
Turn it off, start with 5.
yeah, usually it starts right with 6.
Should.
Yeah, so.
That's automatic and, you know, hard programmed into the.
Right, it's hard
Give
programmed.
this information a lot sooner than they used to.
Right.
Which makes that, with the extra time that they have after the department heads have their information,
Who
that they
checks
get the
this?
bill together.
Who checks this before it comes to us? Who checks
Well,
it
this
before it
number,
goes on
these
the-
numbers, we don't see. It's not on the AS400 in a number like this.
Okay,
So how does it print, like, this is hardwired, right?
No,
No,
that would start with numbering.
Numbering, so you start with, so somebody, whoever did the agenda, they
Mhm.
press 5, 6, 7.
but who checks it? No one can check it, see if it's right before we get it?
You can check it.
Yeah, the chair doesn't, the chair did, she sent over copies of errors that
She
we
missed
corrected
it,
after it was published, so. She missed that one.
Oh, she missed that one, okay.
Several things this one.
Okay, do you have another one, Jake?
So I think that, oh, I have some, that's all right. This is,
Well, could you tell us what they are, so I know?
they're not, I'm sure there will be anything important to anyone else, so that's all right. I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so now do you guys wanna do the command contract first, or do you wanna go to the borrowing?
Should we go back to, the borrowing?
Okay, so it's up there right now.
I remember bringing up, the idea of using designated funds during the deficit reduction talks. My idea at the time was make sure that we cleared with the state, to make sure that we wouldn't be penalized for doing something like that.
Right, I remember you talked about that.
And I have concerns with this as far as not being included in our deficit reduction program. And it seems to me like I'm giving a credit card without, with a $4 million balance, and I have no problem with that. Is anything that you do on this, any time that you use this, is it going to come back before council before it's approved?
This is only for normal expenditures already approved through the deficit elimination plan. This is to pay payroll in the months of June and July because there's no cash. We've already borrowed against building authority funds, against pension accounts.
So it's just for the purpose of payroll?
Could we do that? What we did, I'm not talking about the water, I'm talking about the other, what you're saying we did.
And
What we just said, we paid bills,
right.
I'm sorry.
Just, again, the way we've been discussing with, there were 2 options before us. TANs, which are probably about a tax anticipation notes.
No, I'm not talking about doing it with the water department. I know we discussed that during it, and we had said it's a possibility we'll need to borrow from the
Right.
water department. Back by October this year, we'll borrow more, maybe next year we can borrow all 3, or 2.5, and then the next year maybe
Right.
2, and get it to where by the time we do
For
our
the other
5-year
funds, the
deficit.
difference is that they're general fund based,
So,
so the
it's okay,
accounting.
we did that.
Well,
I mean, I
It's
don't
not-
know, I'm asking.
yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say it's not necessarily paid, because the money's in the account, you pay the bills, when the money comes back in, the accounts get replenished, so.
Okay. So
You know,
we're
it's on
replenishing
paper
it
at
as-
the end of the fiscal year, it shows, but you would note that very first, notice we got from the treasury, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe had to do with, it looks like when you're 1.7 million in deficit, you borrowed against potentially some reserve funding, which would be building authority, which would be things that are tied into the general fund that you borrowed out of those accounts, even though they're not supposed to be used for anything other than what they're designated for. So, again, it's not something that you wanna do, but the money's kinda tied into there, and when the money keeps,
Okay, so what my question would be, I think that if we, if we do the 4 million and we pay it back in October, will we be, straight with the other accounts too? Or will we still be in debt to them, and will this straighten out the
Well, those
cash,
accounts,
cash flow issue?
the, well,
can you stretch that out a little bit?
Sure.
Please.
the
When
cash
I
flow
stretch it, it cuts
analysis,
it off.
you know, I think puts all of that on there, but the,
I don't have that sheet, I will get it, but I'm just saying I can't see it from here, but.
Right, it's too little, so how
I
do you want me to do it?
didn't have that sheet, but what I'm
Bigger?
asking is,
well,
he's talking about we borrowed from a couple other accounts and then they'll go back and we'll borrow. But if we do the 4 million in the water department, will we be okay with the other accounts?
no, the other monies are, as the mayor was saying before, they're just part of the reserves of the general fund. So the part at the bottom, when you do have access to it, then it'd be hard to blow it up
I'm
enough
gonna try
to
to
read
get a
it.
copy tonight, so I have
But
it
the-
to look over.
Do you have a copy with you, John? May I have it, and I'll make some copies? Thank you.
The part here shows, you know, how much total cash there would be estimated, and then how much would be really apportioned to other funds or other reserves. So, this is the portion of the building fund, I think that's Act 179, and then these are some other minor, grant type funding that is in the general fund that we just haven't expended yet, so we have the cash, but, you know, we haven't expended the money.
Okay.
We're generally flush with cash at the end of October because we've got
Right,
the major
correct.
portion of tax collections in.
Correct.
As you commented earlier, next March or April again, we might be borrowing again, but
But hopefully
borrowing
it'll be
less.
less.
Um,
I believe that's, if I'm not mistaken, during the budget, the whole thing, I think we've discussed the fact that if we needed to do that, not that it's something you'd like to do, but if you borrow short term, you know, pay it back to the water department next year, they would borrow less next year, so hopefully by the end of our 5-year deficit plan, we would no longer need to borrow. I believe was the goal. Am I correct?
And I'll speak maybe to Dennis's question or comment about it not being included in the deficit elimination plan. This type of thing is just a cash flow issue, it's not part of the issue addressed by the deficit elimination, which is revenues and expenses. So this isn't a revenue or expense item. It may very well be part of the deficit elimination plan in terms of the information that's communicated to the state and the questions they ask as they follow up before they approve it. Because, as Mayor mentioned, they had a concern with, you know, how we were paying the bills given that we had a deficit. So it will inevitably be part of, you know, the information that gets presented to the state, I think.
I've heard school districts do this a lot toward the end of the fiscal year. They may have to borrow short term just to finish out their year, and then they pay it back right off the
Right,
bat.
we didn't wanna
Am I
jump
right
first
on that?
cans because of the, you know, difference in interest rate. Now, your early question on the 4 million, no, we wouldn't pull out $4 million and throw it in an account that's already there. We would just say, okay, we're short as it shows in the monthly, we'll pull that much out of there. That way we'll keep track, keep accounting, so that the annual 1%, we'd only pay interest on the time that we had that amount of money out.
And council be kept abreast of.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we would anticipate going, beyond that from a cash flow standpoint, unless anything unexpected, we'd have to come back, obviously. Now, to your other question too, this is why we're doing this, so that we do notify and do it by standards that the state would say, at least you're formally acknowledging that you're borrowing it, you are paying it back, an interest rate, and it's probably higher than what if they had invested their funds they would get. So you're, you know, So you're acknowledging it, you're doing it, and you're giving them, you know, some interest for the money that you borrow, so that it does look.
This brings up another question. I've read the notice out front that now water commission, or water payments, water bills will be paid here. And they've always kept that money separate from general fund money, and I think that's the reason that they made payments to the water department itself. Is there a charter violation there? How is that
Actually, the
going to be
the ordinance is clear that water bills will be paid at the treasurer. I don't think water bills have ever been paid, even when water was here, they would come back and forth, and that's when I worked with Craig Lyon. We talked about moving over there, I said, what were the problems? He said, well, right now, they go to the cashier to pay their bill, they tell them, go get you have your water bill? No, so they would send them over to the water department, get their bill printed, bring their bill back over here, pay the bill, bring the receipt back to here again to get their water turned on, or whatever that might have been. We went at that point in time, Greg and I, and asked Dean, is there any reason that the cashier can't just pull that information up, print the bill if they need the bill, so that it can be done, no problem. That's when we, made the move at his request to kind of get people over there in the water. They had requested, because of them being over there, that they still take some payments, because they were there, they didn't want people showing up there, and then being told they had to come here. Payments were never taken over there, they were always here at the treasurer's office. And that's within the ordinance as well.
And to be clear, the money goes directly into the water fund account, it doesn't go into the general fund account, it goes to the water fund. Just because it's, when the cashier receives money throughout the day, they put it in any of, 10 or 20 different accounts. It doesn't all go into the general fund unless it's a general fund, right?
Any more questions on that one?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Hill.
We did this, so I think the mayor just said that we did it so to follow standards set by the state. You're talking about to show the state what?
That we're acknowledging that we know that we're borrowing from special revenue funds.
Well, is the state interested in that, since this wasn't done for the deficit elimination plan?
Again, this is I think Mr. Filo probably answered it better.